Low energy, disappointment, and discouragement are the likely symptoms of Mars opposing Neptune on Tuesday, August 22nd. We start to feel this energy about 4 days before, and then it lasts for 4 days after. And it's really important to watch out for acting out of this negative, kind of desperate feeling and being too hard on yourself. Let's take a closer look and break this transit down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive astrology. If you like my channel, don't forget to like or comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you feel so inclined, you can also buy me a coffee as a thank you. If you have any questions about your life, if you're curious what's ahead for you, you can also book a reading with me at anastasiadoesastrology.com. There are links down below. And on my website, you can also find a full selection of magical astrological candles and oils that can help you navigate the more difficult transits. We are in the middle of Venus retrograde. Mercury retrograde begins on August 23rd, and for 10 days between August 23rd and September 3rd, both Mercury and Venus will be retrograde. So if you felt confused, expect even more of that. And then, of course, these candles can help improve the glitches and help you avoid some of the difficulties and downfalls of the retrograde. If you have any questions as far as what would be best for you, you can leave me a comment down below and I will be happy to give you some advice. So Mars opposite Neptune, right? It's exact at 4:33 p.m. on Tuesday, August 22nd. But like I said, we start to feel it about 4 days before. So Friday, August 18th. And it lasts about 4 days after until Saturday, August 26th. It occurs at 26 degrees 59 minutes of Virgo and Pisces, right, the opposition. So it will be felt the strongest if you have planets between 24 and 29 degrees mutable signs, which is Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius. If you do, like me, this is likely to be extra confusing. So let's break it down and then talk about each sign and what you can possibly expect. What is Mars? Mars is the planet of action. Mars is the planet of desire. Mars severs things, it separates, it stands apart, it's brave, it's reckless, it's quick, right? Neptune is the planet of dreams. It's the planet of ideals. So when you put the two together harmoniously, the hero of Mars becomes inspired and becomes sort of inflamed by a strong purpose, right? And he follows the dreams and everything goes well because there's harmony, hopefully. The more difficult aspect when we have an opposition, like in this case, creates false ideals or creates wishes and a sense of disappointment, disillusionment, and uncertainty. Because Neptune is like, Neptune unites. Neptune is the god of the ocean, right? It's all about unity and spirituality and ideals and dreams and wishes, like I mentioned already. So opposition is a difficult aspect. If Mars says go, Neptune says what's the point, right? If Mars says I want, Neptune in opposition to Mars can say you don't deserve it because it's not about you, sit down, right? So one of the very literal manifestations of the opposition between Mars and Neptune could be the sense of impotence. And that could be physically, that could be like literally sexually problems, right? But Mars represents so much more than just sex. Mars represents our feelings, our kind of confidence, and our ability to act. So when Mars opposes Neptune, you feel like you can't act. You feel like you can't stand apart. You can't defend yourself. So that's why this transit is not the best for making decisions, because you're likely to feel discouraged. You may feel literally weak, like your energy is drained. So perhaps avoid lifting heavy weights right around this time, right? You may feel inadequate around this time and feeling like your ambitions are either unachievable or maybe are not worthy of pursuing, or maybe you're blocked somehow. Be careful of following false idols. That's another thing. Sometimes when Mars opposes Neptune, Neptune can represent some kind of ideal that you're going after, but because the opposition is a tough aspect, it's not likely to be successful. You can sort of stray off in the wrong direction and end up feeling dissatisfied and disappointed and even misguided, right? And sort of tricked. So this is not the best time to sign contracts. This is not the best time to join a cult. I don't know when is the best time to join a cult, but you know, like Peloton or like some of those kind of exercise memberships sometimes feel a little bit like a cult. So maybe don't rush, right? Avoid taking risks. Be careful of overindulging around this time, because when you feel discouraged, disappointed, uncertain, it is really likely to seek support of substances, right? Or things that lift you up and make you forget about things like that. So it's not the best time to do it. Instead, you can really use this energy to connect with something beyond yourself. So if you want to be proactive about approaching this transit, I would recommend meditating, praying, being united with nature, right? Going to the ocean, because Neptune represents water and Mars is in Virgo, which is the sign of health and ritual. So having some kind of self-care ritual around this time could be very supportive. Be careful of self-sacrifice. It's, you know, like it might be easy to feel like if you're not certain in yourself, it's better to follow somebody else. And that's not always the best answer or the best option. So you want to be careful there and be honest. Be honest about your feelings. If you feel confused, if you feel uncertain, it's never a bad idea to ask for help, to share your feelings, to talk to a therapist and ask, ask what have you learned from things like that, or like how can you better care for yourself in the moment of uncertainty. Because like I said, we are in a tricky period, right? Like we have Venus retrograde, Mercury is basically a day away from the retrograde. So it's just like a sense of it's really hard to get to where you're trying to go. And the feeling of that is temporary. So remember that it's temporary and take really good care of yourself. And now let's take a quick look at what this might mean for you based on your rising sign. If you watch my channel, you know that I do horoscopes for rising signs, and that's due to the fact that the rising sign is the starting point of your chart and it represents where every other transit falls down. So if you are an Aries rising, Mars in your 6th house will oppose Neptune in the 12th house. And Mars in the 6th really it's driven to work. It's driven to serve others. It's driven to handle really kind of heavy projects and problem solve. And that may involve your health, right? Like 6th house represents health and rituals and diet and exercise. And 12th house is Neptune in the 12th house could be your own self-saboteur kicking in, and you dealing with that inner critic of Neptune in the 12th, inner voice that is very judgmental, that is very sort of like puts you down and tells you that maybe you're not worthy, maybe you're not going to reach the goals. So watch out for self-criticism, watch out for like escapist tendencies. This could literally be you are on a diet and you're like very focused on getting your health in order, but you slip and then you end up spiraling and going down this like rabbit hole of feeling guilty and feeling bad and maybe even like spiraling more. and so just be caring and be loving towards yourself. And if things arise, because Neptune in the 12th house can also bring things outside of your control, right? Something that like maybe you're waiting for the project to finish, but you get told that the documentation will take like 6 months and you feel really frustrated. But if it's outside of your control, this is an opportunity to practice patience and care and not push harder. Instead, go within and try to find better equilibrium, better balance. And let me know how this resonates down below. If you are a Taurus rising, we have Mars in the 5th house opposite Neptune in the 11th. So here, Mars in the 5th house is all about your joy. It's about your pleasure, your desires, your self-expression. How do you, things like you really want to do to have fun, right? And that could mean go on dates, or that could mean create, have more freedom, become a parent, right? And opposition to Neptune in the 11th could really bring some kind of sense of what would people think of me, where maybe you want to go skydiving and your family is really against it. I don't know if that's the all-encompassing example, but some kind of fear of people not accepting you, people criticizing you, giving too much focus and too much attention to what other people might want. Neptune in the 11th can also bring sort of the voices of social media, voices of friends as contradictory to your desires. It can also be the responsibilities you have to the collective, maybe some volunteer work or some work that you're already doing, some dreams that you've had that are already maybe in motion, but they're not feeling right. So feeling like it's really hard to reach what you're trying to reach, fearing of standing apart, fearing of truly following your dreams could be here. And be really careful that you don't give too much attention to the opinions of other people, because it's your life and it's your choices, and it's up to you to decide what makes you happy. If you are a Gemini rising, Mars in your 4th house of home and family will oppose Neptune in the 10th house. And here you have a very kind of angular, strong energy. Mars in the 4th house has some kind of dreams about buying a home, about moving, about settling somewhere and really being independent in the way you live and the way you build your comfort and feel secure. While Neptune in the 10th house creates confusion and uncertainty surrounding your purpose, surrounding work, surrounding career matters, right? There might be some situation with your boss, some kind of confusion around finding a job and not knowing. Perhaps you want to move, right? So if you want to move, let's say to another country, and there's an opposition to Neptune, maybe you don't know how to find work there. Maybe you're second guessing yourself. Maybe you're even struggling to find a job and worrying how this will affect your family or your living situation is quite likely here. And my advice would be to be patient and to know that this is a temporary aspect, lasts about a week, right? Between August 18th and August 26th. So be patient and focus on spiritual pursuits, right? Like focus on grounding yourself and being patient and being loving and sending yourself kindness, and then trusting that the answers will present themselves as the time goes by. If you are a Cancer rising, Mars in your 3rd house will oppose Neptune in the 9th, and Mars in the 3rd house really is driven to act. It has a lot of ideas. It may be interested in starting a business, pursuing some kind of personal hobbies, and engaging with community, right? There's a lot of drive in Mars in the 3rd house. Traveling, taking trips, if I haven't said that already, but like Mars in the 3rd is potentially really kind of has a lot to do. It has a busy schedule. It makes you want to speak your mind and act and like speed up your schedule and do a lot of things, which involves also enjoying your environment. But Neptune in the 9th house creates some kind of confusion, uncertainty, disappointment, disillusionment, frustration connected to 9th house matters, which is travel. So maybe there is some kind of block, some kind of glitch. You know, you've been planning a trip, but your mom gets sick and now you're not sure whether you'll be able to go or not. Or there's confusion related to legal matters. Maybe you're in a court battle, or similarly, you want to travel, you want to start some things, like you want to start a business, but you need a permit and you're waiting for a permit. or education matters can as well be a touch confusing right now, because maybe you are not sure what to do in the future, right? Like whether to pursue your education and continue your education, or just stay in the moment and start a business, for example. Let me know how this resonates down below, and be patient with yourself. Trust that the answers will come, right? And know that you likely know the answer, but it's not going to be revealed to you for a while. So it's not the best time to sign any contracts. It's not the best time to make any quick decisions. So take it easy, be patient and loving with yourself. If you are a Leo rising, Mars in your second house opposes Neptune in the 8th house. And Mars in the second is the entrepreneur. Mars in the second wants to make money, it wants to take action, it wants to maybe start a business, find a new job. My Leo rising friend is actively looking for work right now. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, she has already found it. But Mars in the second is very much like, go, take action, become the hero. It can also be the reason why maybe you're spending more money right now. Maybe you're like making more but burning through cash a little bit. The opposition to Neptune creates a sense of confusion surrounding your debts, maybe resources of other people. You are working with somebody else and they promised you a resource, they promised you a connection, maybe like a name of somebody, or literally some kind of supply that you need, but they've been a little bit escapist, right? Not kind of connecting with you, maybe not giving you a clear answer. Maybe your partner is acting a little bit unclear about what they want, about the resources they have. Neptune in the 8th house, if you're born with it, can definitely create a sense of like uncertainty around the resources of your partner. So there might be a little bit of like, you have all of these desires and all these aspirations, but your debts are holding you back, or waiting on somebody else is holding you back, and you're perhaps unable to temporarily, right? This transit is not going to last very long, but you may be dealing with a sense of like impotence, which is the word connected to this transit when it comes to financial matters. Or even in terms of your actions, whatever actions you're planning to take to move your life forward, maybe temporarily blocked or delayed or frustrated and confused by Neptune in the 8th house. And let me know how this resonates down below. I'm curious to know what is happening in your life. If you are a Virgo rising, Mars in your 1st house is opposing Neptune in your 7th house. And this is very clear, like me versus us. What I want versus what my partner needs, right? Like Mars in the 1st house, you are very kind of self-driven right now. You have a lot of courage, a lot of initiative. Maybe there's some projects you're starting. I'm thinking of another Virgo rising client who she mentioned even that when Mars went into Virgo versus when Mars was in Leo, she sort of woke up and she started to feel like she has so much more energy and so much more personal goals. But the opposition to Neptune in the 7th either creates a sense of uncertainty about a partnership, where maybe you have all these goals that you're hustling and taking care of, but your partner is not supporting you, or they're acting weird, or even just something is happening in your relationship, or something is happening with your partner where like they're not quite aligned with where you're going. And so your attention might be split, and there might be a sense of dissatisfaction with the partnership, a sort of like a need to see your partner for who they are. Maybe an opportunity to look at them realistically versus idealizing them. Doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? It could be a great opportunity to see things for what they are and connect with your partner. Avoid being self-sacrificial, avoid sort of guilt-tripping your partner or blaming them. Instead, try to be honest with them and talk about the things that you feel confused about. Let me know how this resonates down below. If you are a Libra rising, Mars in your 12th house is opposing Saturn in the 6th house. Sorry, not Saturn, Neptune. Mars in the 12th, opposite Neptune in the 6th. I'm just Saturn, Big Daddy, has been on my mind, I guess. So here Mars in the 12th house wants to rest. It wants to pursue spiritual imaginative projects. It wants to heal oneself or become a healer, right? And Neptune in the 6th can literally create like a delay because you're struggling with a health issue, or someone in your family is struggling with a health issue. There might be a work matter or just some kind of hurdle that you're dealing with, right? Like we've been talking a lot about, for Libra risings, a lot about this like heaviness and lots of work and sort of busyness that you've been feeling with Saturn and Neptune as well being in your 6th house. So kind of needing to be more thoughtful about streamlining your work, right? I think is an important lesson here. How can you balance your heavy workload, or how can you take better care of your health so that you're able to both be hardworking but also imaginative, so that you're able to take care of your mental health but then also allow rest and allow spirituality. Let me know how this resonates down below, and take good care of yourself, my lovely Libra rising. So if you are a Scorpio rising, Mars in the 11th house is going to oppose Neptune in the 5th. And here we have desire, ambition connected to group projects connected to social media, connected to following your dreams and pursuing new initiatives, right? In opposition to Neptune in the 5th, which is some kind of confusion when it comes to your child, some kind of uncertainty, a sense of maybe like sacrificing a lot and feeling unsure that you're going to be able to pursue all of your dreams because maybe you are, like maybe your child is starting school or maybe you're pregnant with your second child and you're not sure whether you'll be able to dedicate time to what you're trying to achieve. There might also be some kind of lack of clarity when it comes to your creative partnership or creative relationship, as well as romantic relationship. Even a sense of self-doubt that comes from questioning whether you have what it takes, right? Like whether you have enough creativity, whether you have enough know-how, ability, and confidence might be present at this time. Be aware, watch out for being too hard on yourself, and trust that this energy will pass as this transit dissipates. And let me know how this resonates down below. Have you been feeling any kind of tension between your sector of hopes, dreams, and wishes and your sector of private life, children, romance, etc.? If you are a Sagittarius rising, Mars in your 10th house of career opposes Neptune in the 4th house of home and family. So Mars in the 10th has drive to work, to achieve, to take on more, to start a new job, to maybe pursue, get like a new title, get a raise, right? Like it's very driven, very focused and professionally oriented. But when Neptune kicks in the 4th house, you may start to feel, this to me shows up in a few ways. Like one thing that I see here is like home and family matters being really difficult right now, or being overwhelming somehow, right? Like you may feel drowned because Neptune is not drowned, but like you're drowning, like overwhelmed, because Neptune represents the ocean. When it's in your 4th house of home and family, maybe your child is going through a tough time and you're trying to help them. Maybe your mother also needs you at the same time. So there's just like a lot going on. Another way I see this showing up as maybe some kind of guilt tripping around your parents, which is around home family, right? Like somebody, you've been pursuing your ambitions, but then your son or somebody in your family is really saying that they want you home and they want more of your attention, so you feel uncertain of how to proceed. And the final thing that also kind of feels important here, or feels like a possibility here, is dealing with insecurities that are connected to your childhood, that are connected to your upbringing, right? Where you have maybe like a mentality where you feel like you don't deserve to make a certain amount of money, or you second guess that women can be in charge of a big corporation, or some kind of inner like self-doubt that stems from your early conditioning that you need to take a look at and examine. And be kind with yourself. Be aware that this is a temporary energy. It's going to pass. So no need to be making it difficult, but by also criticizing yourself. Let me know how this resonates down below. If you are a Capricorn rising, Mars in your 9th house opposes Neptune in the 3rd house. And Mars in the 9th wants to travel. It wants to study. It wants to write. It wants to publish and present your work, right? But what happens when Neptune in the 3rd house comes into the picture? Neptune's in the house. You run into logistical issues, most likely. There's some kind of confusion about scheduling. There's some kind of confusion. Very simply, it could be like a signature that's missing in your legal paperwork, right? And suddenly you get thrown back, or you've been planning a trip with your child, but you realize that the father of your child, if you're not together, let's say they already like planned something. So your plans sort of get thrown up in the air and you feel confused. And maybe, you know, there is some kind of problem with your novel or the book that you've been working on, and you feel uncertain whether it's even going to get published. Like, let's say with the writer's strike, right? Like, you've had this screenplay that you've been shopping around, you've been sending it places, but now who knows, you know, who knows when the screenplay will see the light of day. This is a down, small moment that lasts about a week. Do not get discouraged. Be patient and know that this energy will get better and things will get more clear in a while, right? We still have Mercury retrograding, going retrograde in a little bit in your 9th house. So maybe not immediately, but pretty soon. If you are an Aquarius rising, Mars in your 8th house will oppose Neptune in the 2nd house. And here you're dealing with Mars in the 8th wants to pay off debts. It's sort of driven to handle financial matters, to maybe renegotiate the agreements, to work with other people, to clear contracts or sign contracts, right? Start new partnerships. And Neptune in the 2nd house creates a sense of confusion around money and resources that you have to bring, that you have the ability to bring to the table. So one thing, you may second guess how much you have to offer financially, but you can also be second guessing yourself personally, because 2nd house represents self-worth and self-value. So feeling like either you are in a tough position when it comes to money right now, and you don't know if you can pay for a mortgage or if you can collaborate with somebody, and needing to reevaluate your finances, right? Like needing to come up with some kind of plan and get more clear, as well as needing to look at the way you think about yourself and focus on appreciating yourself and valuing yourself and knowing that you do have a lot to offer and you do have a lot to bring to the table. But if things feel confusing, keep in mind that this is a shorter transit and it's going to pass. And let me know down below, how have your finances been? Have you felt like there is a sense of uncertainty, perhaps connected to debts, resources, taxes, or any finances or interactions you have with other people? Now, if you are a Pisces rising, Mars in your 7th house is going to oppose Neptune in the 1st house. And Mars in the 7th is all about relating to other people, right? If you are in a relationship, it may be the energy of kind of making things official, maybe going on more dates, maybe you're trying to date, right? If you're single, or if you're single and you have no intention of dating, it could be more about partnering up with people, maybe connecting with others, right? Getting sort of in touch in your relationships. The opposition to Neptune in the 1st house brings a sense of, it's interesting because like Neptune in the first house is you, right? So it's almost like you're you're feeling self-doubt. Like the self-doubt at this time can really be very strong. A sense of maybe not believing in yourself, feeling discouraged, feeling disappointed. Like this could literally be, let's say you go through a rejection. You ask someone out and you get rejected. Or you reach out to someone to be like your backup or your co-host or co-signer or something, and they say no, and you start to spiral and you start to feel down about yourself. Avoid the downside, avoid catastrophizing, right? Keep in mind that this is a temporary transit. It is going to pass, but what it teaches you is likely an opportunity to see yourself as a hero, right? As a person in charge, as somebody who makes decisions and stands up for themselves. So take this time to reflect, to care for yourself, to build yourself up, and trust that once you feel happy and secure with who you are, your relationships, your partnerships and connections, and even contracts you're planning to sign with other people will improve. So this is all I have for this rather complicated transit. Someone was asking me in the comments whether September is going to be even tougher than August, and luckily no, September is looking better, especially once the retrogrades clear out. If you'd like some help for the upcoming Mercury retrograde or for this Venus retrograde, check out my magic shop and get yourself a candle or an oil. And thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.